Comprehensive?
Inspiring.
Fun and educational.
Like awesome.
Energizing.
Family.
Inspiring.
I think brilliant.
Fabulous.
I've been coming here since the very first one. It's like coming home. It just feels like this amazing content family.
It's great to step out from the day-to-day, be with our people.
There are brilliant speakers and fantastic takeaways. Everybody leaves this event with pages of notes and things they can go apply right away.
You're going to get a wide scope of opportunities, from something like new creative tactics to develop content to how to use AI.
It's the most inspirational and educational conference that I've ever attended.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're finally back live here. It's Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. Thank you so much for joining me for this Ask the CM World Community Livestream, where each time we dive into a new topic with an awesome member of our CM World community. And today we are talking about The Little Mermaid and AI. Confused? Well, our guest today will explain how those all go together for you. I'm very excited about this. And if you didn't know already, this live stream is brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute. We are the leading training and education organization for, you guessed it, all things content marketing. Head over to contentmarketinginstitute.com for all kinds of resources, educational content, research, you name it, we got it over there. So check it out. The weekly news, we have that as well. And guess what? We are getting so close to our signature event, Content Marketing World. It's September 26th and 28th in Washington, D.C. This is an all-new location for us. So for the next couple of weeks here on the live stream leading up to the event, we'll be featuring some of our awesome speakers from the event right here. So we're all getting excited and gearing up for the event. If you want to know more and you want to register, head on over to contentmarketingworld.com. Sorry, my little bottom scroll there cuts that off, but I think you can find it. So if you do sign up and head to the event, please let me know. And I'm sure my guest today will also love to meet you and chat with you as well. So be sure to connect with us, because we love to connect with our CM World attendees. So as you join me today, please, as always, give me a virtual wave, say hello, let us know where you're joining us from. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them into the comment section below. As always, it makes for a more engaging live stream if we can hear from all of you. If you share all your experiences and thoughts, or if you have questions, please let us know. So let's get the ball rolling here today with the question of the day. I think we all know AI, all these different AI tools, new ones come out every day. So I'm sure a lot of you have had the chance to check them out. So how are you using AI in your marketing efforts and your content creation? Are you worried about losing your voice in exchange for moving faster? How is it all working out for you? What tools? We would love to hear from you. I know we've covered AI before on the live stream, but it's literally changing always. So I'd love to hear how all of you are using it. So let's see if anyone's checked in. Andy's checked in, Amy's checked in, Stephanie's checked in. So hello, you all. Thank you for joining us as well. All right, joining me to chat today is Jill Grozalsky Roberson. She's an award-winning digital marketer and a friend of ours here at CMI. She's been a CM World keynote speaker as well. As a VP of digital marketing, Jill oversees Velir's marketing program and the practice dedicated to crafting and implementing the digital marketing strategies there for their portfolio. Jill, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It's always exciting to participate in a content marketing event, whether it's a live stream in person. So very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I didn't mention Jill is the VP of Digital Marketing at Velir. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So we're so excited. This topic today is based on your CM World session, which I think might take the prize for the best title of a CM World session. So how does The Little Mermaid relate to content marketing and AI? How did you sort of come up with this?
Sure. It's so funny. I was actually having a chat with Ann Hanley, who's always a presence at Content Marketing World. And this was sometime last summer or last fall. And we were just talking about AI and kind of ideating on it. The pros and cons we were seeing at the time. And of course, as you mentioned, Amanda, things are changing constantly. And after we were chatting, I was just thinking about, this notion of losing your voice. Right. And if you think back to The Little Mermaid, right, and Ariel's interaction with Ursula, where Ariel, all she wants is legs, right? She wants to be able to go on land, but at what cost? She gives up her voice in order to get this one thing that she wanted. And, when we think about AI and content, the question for content marketers really is, what are we giving up in exchange for these things that we want around efficiency, being able to create that content across multiple channels in a way that keeps pace with the changing market, changing audience perceptions, things like that. So just trying to draw that correlation and really, understand the fact that AI is something that is powerful, right? And is really reshaping the way that content marketers and marketers, content authors across the board look at their jobs. But what do we need to hold on to as part of that? What are we not willing to sacrifice to gain some of these benefits?
So I'm asking the question of the day, and hello to Barbara and Neha for joining us. As you mentioned, AI is a powerful tool, and we want to know how people are using it, and is it working for you? So in your experience so far, what are some of the benefits of using AI in content marketing, content creation as you've seen it so far?
Sure. It's a great question. And there's a couple of different use cases. I think, probably for a lot of people listening in, that moment in time, when you're creating so much content and all of a sudden your brain is just like, you know what, I can't think about it anymore. Sometimes you need that nudge or assistance, right? So me personally, I've used Chat GPT to really kind of ideate or brainstorm on titles. A lot of, not this one for this talk, I came up with that on my own. But, using AI to come up with certain blog ideas, right? Or to gather some points for a guide and using it almost as guidance in terms of where I want to focus my content efforts and kind of jump starting that. Also seeing a lot of use cases around, of course, imagery, right? Depending on the size of marketing and content teams, it can be very difficult to keep up with, the images that you need, not just for a website, but across channels, things like that, depending on your design resources. So a lot of use cases there. And then I think also as it relates to kind of marketing technology, we're seeing more and more content management systems and digital experience platforms explore the integration of AI and how that can help, whether it's from a standpoint of creating headlines, helping with meta information or translation. I think those are kind of some of the entryways that we're seeing with AI, but naturally that's scaling significantly and we're defining more complex and really fascinating use. Whoops. Hit the space bar. More use cases every day. So
I know, I think you've probably seen it. People have been circulating on LinkedIn, the graphic of all the tools, the pie chart of all the tools and technologies out there just exploded. So, and I don't have the name here, LinkedIn user, it just gives me that on here. Is saying, hi there, I use goblin.tools to help determine the tone and help keep my thoughts organized. And also figure out dinner after work. Hey, I need to do that. I'll have to try that one. So yes, as you're joining us, let us know how you are using AI. We would love to know. And so obviously lots of tools, lots of technology. What are some great things that we can use it for? But what are some of the downfalls you see for content marketers with AI tools?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think anytime there's something that's new and shiny, right? We want to go all in. You see it with technology when a new iPhone's coming out, people are lining up to get their hands on it first. And sometimes it does benefit you to not be the first one to dive, kind of head first and all in. So I think, a lot of people have started to use AI and thrown caution to the wind, right? They're not really doing the appropriate planning around use cases, thinking about kind of the operational impacts. And so there's definitely benefits, right, to all the different use cases around AI. But I think, where it can become, I wouldn't say dangerous, but, something to just keep an eye on is making sure that the uses are thoughtful, right? And that you're really seeing the process through from start to finish to then make a validated, or an informed decision about what's the best way for me to use AI moving forward, whether that's creating content, using it to determine tone as well, things like that. Because at the end of the day, when we're creating content, for work, we also have to marry the use of this tool that might not be operationalized with our process that we have as an organization, or what your process is as a team, workflows, review. And I think too, just understanding that there still needs to be originality and empathy within content. So, using AI as something that can help facilitate and jumpstart content creation, editing, things like that. We want to make sure that we're still holding on to the brand consistency and values, and also weaving in that kind of human approach and tone throughout, so that the content isn't just being generated. It's something that truly is a representation of a brand or an organization.
Yeah, so you just kind of mentioned that. So when, should we prioritize things like writing and human control over those efficiencies that AI can provide us?
Yeah, another really good question. I think some things that jump out, of course, anytime there's a crisis, right? Not to be dramatic, but whether there's something happening within a brand, or if organizations have to communicate something about the business that might skew more negative, right? Those are certainly areas where you really want to be thoughtful about what's being said. And what that takes is a true understanding of who you're communicating to, right? Yes, we can tell AI, hey, write for this audience, but they don't understand the nuances of what that audience needs, their motivators, their concerns, what they respond well to. So I think anytime there's a big announcement, positive or negative, or in a time of crisis, those are definitely areas where we might want to take a step back and be like, okay, this is the human message really needs to come forward. I also think that, there are certain areas within customer service that become very gray. It's something that I've written about a little bit, but when we think about customer service and where, someone reaching out, what's motivating them, it's oftentimes at a heightened point of frustration, right? So we've tried to find an answer on a website through, an FAQ or on a forum, no luck there. All right, maybe we chat with an automated chatbot. No luck there. If we're picking up the phone to call, or we're live chatting with someone, at that point in a customer service journey, the frustration can be so high that talking to an automated tool or not getting a personal response that has the empathy for what you're going through in that situation that you're trying to get resolved, I think that's also an area where, again, it can be a little gray and is something that should be kind of closely monitored in terms of when AI is used from a customer service perspective.
Yes, I know I get frustrated with those automated chats.
Really, my phone across the room, hitting the laptop. So
I give up on them. Nihas says here, almost every other application is integrating AI in their workspace. Notion AI is one such example. Another one that I literally haven't heard of any of these. Andy is also talking about Goblin Tools, which is the first. It's great for breaking down big tasks. She learned about a couple weeks ago and has been telling people about it ever since. So Jill, you were going to share obviously more about this topic in your CM World presentation. But as we go forward, it's going to be important for brands to create their own guidelines and when it comes to using AI in content creation, because you want your voice, of course, to be consistent across the brand. So what are a couple of things that brands should consider as they begin this process?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's important to one, just really shore up your brand guidelines, right? I think understanding and making sure all people, who are creating content, talking to consumers or your target audiences, making sure everyone's aligned on what your brand voice is. What's your brand style? How are you represented on different channels? Because that's just going to establish a really good baseline for where AI can help with some of that content, right? If your social presence is really about very personal responses to people that are posting on Twitter, Threads, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, that might not be the best channel for you to then leverage AI for those responses if people have gotten used to that very tailored and personal approach. So I think really understanding brand guidelines will help identify what opportunities exist to leverage AI and where to best use it. I think also thinking broadly, right, and getting team members together to identify use cases and to start with a proof of concept, right? As with anything that you're starting for the first time or dabbling in or trying to explore, we talked about this earlier. You don't always want to dive in head first. Sometimes it's good to take a crawl, walk, run approach. It's something we talk about for things like personalization when people are just getting started. And I think the same thing really goes for AI, right? When we're thinking about that and creating guidelines, that should be considered as you begin the process in terms of what's a good starting use case? What's the benefit that we're hoping to see from that? And that way you also have things to measure against, right? Because a lot of the benefits of AI right now are kind of the soft metrics, right? It's like, I feel like I'm working faster, I can get more done. And obviously we can put hard, concrete metrics around that. But as you're starting out, it's good to have kind of some KPIs to measure against to prove whether the AI use case you're testing, has its positive or negative, whatever the impact may be. So I think that's another thing to keep in mind as it relates to AI. And then I think the last piece too, and this is both for AI, but sort of any new tech or process that you're adopting and where proof of concept is really helpful, is just from the operational angle. I mentioned that before, but understanding that AI can disrupt the process that teams have been going through to date. So really understanding, if we're going to adopt AI and we're going to do it in kind of an incremental fashion, what are the things that we need to think about? Who's involved? How does this impact the process we already have in place? How do we put in additional checkpoints to validate and make sure that we have that human tone, that it's still aligned with our brand consistency? I really think that operational piece is something that, because AI is so exciting and everyone can get their hands on it, that it's being used. But we also have to remember that it's not just for individual benefit, right? It's something that we're trying to incorporate into our everyday work. So definitely don't overlook the operational angle when it comes to AI and figuring out the best way to use AI for your business or your organization.
All great stuff. Going back to our chatbot question conversation, Andy says she's actually used all caps with the bots because she was so mad at it. What if that worked, Andy? Yeah. Probably not. So Jill, you are going to go more into this topic. The title of your session at Content Marketing World is Keeping Your Voice, The Little Mermaid as a Cautionary Tale for AI Content Marketing. How many years have you come to content marketing? You were at the keynote stage a couple of years ago.
Yes, that was very exciting. I think this is my 4th or 5th Content Marketing World. So I've definitely been to at least 3 in Cleveland. I know that for sure. I'm sure there might be an outlier. So we'll say 4 or 5. And I'm very excited. It's a conference that I always look forward to going to. I love speaking at it, but most importantly, I love to learn from it, right? I think the mix of attendees, from practitioners to content marketing leaders, and just the openness of sharing ideas and best practices, and also openly discussing challenges that we're all facing, right? Nothing's ever easy peasy all the time. So being able to talk to people who are in similar roles and, kind of ideate and talk through challenges, lessons learned just across different tactics, it's always very exciting.
Yes. And I think it's here. I'm going to pop up your graphic here for Jill. You can see Jill, Content Marketing World. But I think it's like, it's hard to explain, I guess, Content Marketing World to people. It just has a different vibe, a different feeling than a lot of the other conferences. And as an employee of Content Marketing World, I don't ever get to actually enjoy it as much as the learning and stuff because I have to work, but I'm so jealous of all of our attendees who get to attend all the sessions, etc. So you can see Jill at Content Marketing World. I hope that you join us there in Washington, DC. It's all new location for us, so we're all very excited. In the meantime, Jill, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I know this was promoted on LinkedIn, so always happy to connect on LinkedIn, as well as Twitter. I can kind of share my handle in the chat maybe. But also, of course, I'll be at Content Marketing World. Velir does have a booth, so we're super excited to be sponsoring the event. So we'll have a great team there to talk about, AI, different content projects, challenges, things like that. So I'll be in DC and always happy to connect on LinkedIn and always happy to chat beforehand or just kind of geek out about content. So
that's the best thing about our speakers. They're all very open to sharing and connecting, etc. So please feel free to reach out to Jill. And Jill, excuse me. In the meantime, I will see you September 26th to the 28th. So until then, have a great rest of your summer. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to all of you out there for joining us as well. See ya.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.